Have you ever stopped to consider what truly drives your life? In The Will to Power, Nietzsche challenges us to rethink the ultimate goal, not just to broaden our consciousness, but to intensify our power. What is the core value that quietly shapes your existence, whether you realize it or not? For many, this central value might be wealth. For others, it could be status, social approval, happiness, pleasure, love, knowledge, or comfort. But what if these are just reflections of something deeper? Drawing from Nietzsche's insights, we might ask ourselves, what if the essential value we should nurture for genuine health and fulfillment is not any of these, but power itself? How would focusing on power change the way you live your life? Nietzsche explains, what is good? Everything that increases the feeling of power, the will to power, power itself in humanity. What is bad? Everything that arises from weakness. Not contentment, but greater power. However, this notion of power should not be mistaken for mere domination or control over others to satisfy our desires. Nietzsche sees the urge to control or manipulate others often as a symptom of inner frailty or insecurity. He articulates this in On the Genealogy of Morals. The will of the weak to assert some kind of superiority, their cunning drive toward tyranny over the strong, when this goes unnoticed, this is the will to power of the weakest. For Nietzsche, the authentic power to pursue is internal strength, not external domination. This inner power, described as growth and expansion in the joyous science, aligns with the modern philosopher John Richardson's idea of intensifying an already existing ability or activity. In everyday life, this can be observed in many forms. An athlete who builds up their physical strength is increasing their power. A writer who hones their craft is enhancing their power. A speaker who sharpens their communication skills is gaining power. A teacher who refines their teaching methods is strengthening their power. Richardson further elaborates in Nietzsche's system that power is not merely about continuing or multiplying talents, but about elevating life to a higher level of capability and mastery. He describes power as transcending oneself, a continuous process of growth that involves surpassing previous versions of who we are. Nietzsche's works implicitly offer guidance on how to cultivate power, starting with setting a goal that satisfies four key conditions. The goal must be meaningful and pose a worthy challenge. It should promote well-being for oneself or others. It ought to encourage the pursuit of personal excellence, and it must be a sincere and authentic choice that reflects our true self and deepest aspirations. In one of his unpublished notes, Nietzsche remarked, "We need not worry about humanity's purpose. What truly matters is why you are here. If you do not know the answer, then create your own goals, lofty and noble ones." With a goal that fulfills these requirements, the next step on the path to power is to dedicate yourself to it every day with perseverance and focus. During this process, obstacles are inevitable. Fear, uncertainty, anxiety, and even procrastination may try to block your way. External circumstances such as limited time, criticism, health challenges, or relational conflicts can also threaten your momentum. Yet from the standpoint of power, these challenges are disguised opportunities. Facing resistance and stretching your mental and physical boundaries to overcome it means you are actually expanding your power. Much like a warrior grows stronger by battling a formidable opponent, these trials serve as tests that push us beyond our limits and build our strength. Nietzsche conveys this notion with the following words: "The will to power can only reveal itself through resistance. It actively seeks out opposition. All growth, expansion, and integration happen through a struggle against something that resists. A strong nature requires resistance and therefore pursues it. By participating in what Nietzsche calls the interplay of resistance and triumph, we overcome obstacle after obstacle, and each success introduces a new challenge. Through this ongoing cycle, we steadily enhance our power and advance toward our aims. Once we finally accomplish the goal we set, Nietzsche's final step is to relinquish that achievement, along with everything we built or became, to pursue a loftier, more ambitious target. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche proclaims, "All that I create, and no matter how dearly I love it, I must soon oppose it in my love. Such is the desire of my will." Philosopher Bernard Regenster provides a more nuanced understanding of this idea. He explains that for those who seek power, it is not about destroying what was made or despising what was once cherished. Rather, these creations and affections must be transcended. The will to power drives the individual to recognize that no matter how fulfilling an achievement may be, it eventually becomes insufficient. The true force behind this is not the accumulation of accomplishments, but the ongoing act of conquering. What the power seeker truly craves are ever greater challenges. This transforms the quest into a never-ending journey of growth and self-transcendence. In The Will to Power, Nietzsche stresses that the pursuit of power has no end except for the satisfaction experienced during the process itself. He describes a continuous cycle of setting new objectives, confronting and overcoming obstacles, amplifying one's own power, achieving those objectives, then abandoning those successes to start the process anew. A life shaped by this pursuit never arrives at a final destination, unless, as Nietzsche proposes, the true aim is the spontaneous joy that comes from continually augmenting one's power. Nietzsche also touches on this topic in the Antichrist, stating, "What is happiness? It is the feeling that power is growing, that resistance has been conquered." He further elaborates in The Will to Power. "Joy is merely a symptom of the feeling of power. Joy is not chased after, it follows naturally. Hence, joy is not the primary objective, but a natural consequence of the process of gaining strength and overcoming challenges." Nietzsche's ideas about power carry significant implications for how modern individuals can approach suffering. For him, suffering is not something to be avoided or feared, but rather something that requires meaning to be bearable. Without a sense of purpose, suffering becomes intolerable, leading to nihilism and life denial. Nietzsche articulates this tension clearly when he says, "Man, the bravest of animals and most accustomed to suffering, does not reject suffering itself. He desires it, even seeks it out, provided a meaning is revealed to him, a purpose for the suffering. It is the absence of meaning in suffering, not suffering itself, that has been humanity's curse." Historically, many religious, philosophical, and political doctrines have tried to address suffering by proposing that this life is merely a passage to another existence, where suffering will lessen or vanish altogether. These true worlds are embodied in concepts such as religious heavens or political and social utopias, promising a future reality free of pain. The implicit message is that by enduring current suffering, redemption will be attained in a superior realm down the line. The major flaw of these approaches is that they diminish the value of life here on earth and the present moment, trading it for hope based on another reality whose existence relies entirely on faith. Nietzsche critiques this notion in Exe Homo when he writes, "The idea of an other world, a true world beyond this one, was created to undermine the only world we actually have, leaving no purpose, no meaning, no task for our earthly existence. Instead, Nietzsche proposes an ethics centered on power as the fundamental way to confront suffering. If power is regarded as the highest human ideal, then the obstacles we face and the suffering they produce become vital for our development. The pain that arises from resistance and the thwarting of our desires transforms into an opportunity for us to expand our power. Nietzsche expresses this in The Will to Power. Humans do not simply seek pleasure and avoid pain. What they truly desire is an increase in power. Driven by this will, they actively seek resistance. They require opposition. Discomfort as a barrier to their will to power is therefore a natural fact. Humans do not shy away from it. Rather, they constantly crave it. Nietzsche's perspective does not depend on faith in external assurances, nor does it ask us to place our hopes in gods, science, or political and religious authorities. It offers a practical, straightforward approach to addressing the problem of suffering. This philosophy encourages a life of ongoing effort and activity, serving as a remedy to the passivity that afflicts modern society. By participating in this cycle of continual self-overcoming, we gain the chance to fulfill our true potential and attain the profound happiness and robust health that Nietzsche describes as the privilege of those who pursue power. He writes in The Will to Power, "Pleasure emerges where there is the sensation of power. Happiness resides in the victorious awareness of power and conquest." And he emphasizes this again in Thus Spoke Zarathustra. "And life itself confided its secret to me. Behold," it said, "I am that which must always surpass itself." If this video spoke to something deep within you, I have a small request. Would you consider hitting the like button, leaving a comment, or subscribing to the channel? That little like might seem insignificant, but it genuinely helps others find content like this. More importantly, it means a lot just knowing you're here. Before you head out, you'll notice a few suggested videos on your screen. I won't spoil the surprise by explaining them. I'll just say they continue the conversation in powerful ways that complement what we've explored here. If you're ready to keep diving into this journey of self-discovery, you won't regret watching them. Thanks for showing up and for being a part of this shared reflection. I'll meet you again, whether in another video or in the quiet moments of your own personal journey. Until then, take care and keep uncovering what it truly means to be yourself.